Hey everyone, welcome back. Today's video is all about my favorite highlighters and bronzers. This is part 4 of my semi-annual favorites, which I've been doing throughout the month of June, and I'm so happy that you guys are loving these videos. I've been getting so much great feedback on it, so yay, I'm glad this is a good idea. I will definitely do it again in December. So anyway, today, just like every other favorites video, I'll show you some of my favorite drugstore highlighters and bronzers, as well as some higher end options. So without further ado, let's just get started. Alright, so first let's talk about my favorite highlighters, and I have them divided into a couple of different categories. The first one being more subtle highlights, or low glow as I like to call them, and then I'll get into some shinier, more bold highlighters. So first of all, let's talk about the subtle ones, because these are the ones I wear on an everyday basis. They're the kind that if you have really dry skin and you just want your skin to look a little dewier, more healthy, these are perfect for that. And also if you have a lot of texture on your cheeks, which I'm definitely starting to get now that I'm older. I have some more enlarged pores over here, and the really shiny highlights can sometimes accentuate those. So these are the ones that I reach for the most often. And the first one would be a drugstore option. It's the Essence Pure Nude highlighter. This one is kind of magical in the way that it kind of works across many different skin tones. When I first saw it, it looked a little dark in the pan, at least darker than the highlighters that I would typically go for, but surprisingly it does work on my skin. It actually kind of is almost the same exact color. So I'm not actually using it to highlight, but more just to add a glow to my skin, and it's one of those glows where it's not super apparent unless maybe I turn my head or the sunlight catches my skin just the right way. Then you'll notice this, and it just gives my skin a little bit of luminosity without sparkle or shimmer or anything like that. So I think it's really beautiful. Deeper skin tones could definitely use this as more of an actual highlighter, but for me, like I said, it just kind of blends into my skin very seamlessly and gives a beautiful, natural, subtle glow. And then my other favorite low glow highlighter that I've been obsessed with this one for years is the Laura Geller French Vanilla highlighter. This one is just like the Essence one, but it's actually a little bit lighter, so I can actually use this more as a highlight. I do know people that use this all over their face, as well as setting their under eyes with it, but I think you have to have like a perfect under eye. Like maybe those of you who are younger that don't have any fine lines yet, you probably could get away with using this under your eyes. I definitely can't, because it is still a highlighter at the end of the day, and it will accentuate and draw attention a little bit to those fine lines, but I love how beautiful this looks on the skin. It's just so subtle and gorgeous, but look at how bright. It just sort of brightens up my skin, I guess you could say, and just is so seamless and so pretty, and you don't notice any kind of shimmer or like glitter to it at all. So if you like these more subtle kind of highlights, you have to check this one out. It is so, so pretty. And then next up, I want to share another highlighter that I don't hear anybody talking about. It's actually from a brand that I don't hear a lot about, but they do send me PR occasionally, and everything I've tried from them so far has been really nice. It's the Pop Beauty Prismatic Pop Highlighters, and these are so stunning. I was blown away when I first tried them. They're a baked formula, so they're super smooth and seamless, and I mean, just check out this glow. How like bright they are, how they really, really show up nicely on the skin, but they're not glittery or chunky. They're just like, again, super seamless. I'm actually wearing this color on my cheek today. This is Celestial Light, so it's a little bit more of like a pink highlight, and I don't know if it's showing up very well on camera because I'm using natural light from a window versus a ring light, and those always make things pop, but I think, I'm looking in the viewfinder, you can kind of see this one. It's sort of more on the natural side because it's not like really glittery, but at the same time it's so smooth and just blends into your skin so well that it looks natural. So I think if you like a natural highlight but you still really want it to show up and really see it on your cheeks, these are really, really pretty. I actually have 4 shades, so I can swatch them all for you so you can see what they look like. So here are the swatches. You're looking at, the first one is Celestial Light, which is the one that I'm wearing today. The second one is Gilded Light, and then the third one is Lunar Light, and then the last one is Stellar Light. They are just I love them, and I was so impressed, and I don't know why more people aren't talking about these, because they're really amazing, and they're $12, so they're pretty affordable too. So moving on to some brighter, bolder highlighters, my favorites lately have been from Persona Cosmetics. These are the Cali Glow highlighters, and I've just been impressed with Persona as a brand in general. They're very small. They only have these 3 highlighters and then an eyeshadow palette, but I love both products, and I feel like they can do no wrong. So I can't wait to see what they come out with next and how they grow as a brand. So these highlighters are super buttery and creamy and intense, and they just give a really beautiful dewy glow without being crazy glittery. This shade is Laguna, which is the lightest one, and I think if you have really fair skin, this will make your cheeks pop like crazy. They also have 2 other shades, so I'll show you some swatches. Again, Laguna is the lightest shade, and then the second one is Zuma, and that is a beautiful champagne with like a little hint of peach to it. It's really, really pretty. And then Del Mar is more of a warm, rich, bronzy glow. And also another reason I really love these is because they are really long lasting on your cheeks. They're made with cacao seed butter, which I think gives them that creamy, buttery feel, and it just helps them to stick to your skin a lot better for a longer length of time. So I can get almost all day wear out of these. And by the way, isn't this packaging beautiful too? It kind of reminds me of Kim Kardashian's makeup line a little bit, with like the blush color. It's just so sleek and pretty. So I love the packaging of these. I just think they are so well done. So next time you're on Ulta.com, definitely check these out if you're looking for a really nice highlighter that's like bold and bright without, you know, being chunky or glittery or anything. They're just so super pretty. And then the last highlighter I want to talk about before we move on to the creams and the palettes is the Lorac Light Source Illuminating Highlighter. And these are another one of my favorites because they are so smooth and not glittery. I think you're probably sensing a theme here. I don't like chunky highlighters. I don't like ones that are overly glittery. These I like because you can build them up to your desired intensity. If you just use a lighter, more fluffy brush, they go on really sheer and really natural looking, but you can build them up to a crazy intensity if you layer them or even if you wet them. So I love the versatility of these, plus I think the colors are really on point that they have. They're just so beautiful. So let me show you some swatches of the 3 that I have really quick. The first one is Starlight. This one's described as a white opal on the Ulta website, but I think it's more golden. I would definitely not call this one white, but it is really, really beautiful if you have light skin. The next one is Moonlight, and this one is a pink pearl shade. Again, just really, really pretty. And then the last one I have is Bold Spirit, and this is the most intense of the 3. This one's actually kind of dark for me. They sent this one to me. I actually bought the other 2. But if you have a deeper skin tone and you want like a really beautiful bold pink highlight, this one is super, super pretty. Alright, so moving on to cream highlighters. I think the thing I like most about cream highlights is that they're just so quick and easy to apply. So if I don't want to mess with brushes, I'm in a hurry, I just want to get out the door, I love using these because you can just, you know, put a little on your cheek, dab it in with your fingers and go. It's super simple. And I also really like cream highlighters in the wintertime too, because when you have dry skin like I do, sometimes the powders don't always stick too well if it's really like dry in the house and stuff. So I tend to use a cream highlight because it just sticks longer. So I'll either use it by itself, or sometimes I'll put a cream and then layer a powder on top just to give it extra staying power. So the first one I'm going to talk about today is the Clinique Chubby Stick Highlighter. This is a favorite of mine, but unfortunately it only comes in one color. So if you have a deeper skin tone, it may not work for you, but I think it's perfect for more fair to light skin tones. It's a really pretty pink shade and it's very subtle on the skin. So I use this as way more of a natural highlight because it doesn't have like really visible glitter or shimmer, and it doesn't give a crazy amount of high shine. It's one of those highlighters that you really only notice if you turn your head and your cheekbone happens to catch the light or something like that. And then for a more bold cream highlighter, I love to reach for the Hourglass Vanish Highlighting Stick. It's honestly unlike any cream cheek product that I've ever tried because it's so light and weightless. It feels like nothing and just melts into your skin and dries down and like disappears. Not the color disappears, but like the feeling of it. It just feels like there's nothing there, which is really amazing. It is super pricey, but I had to try it because of all the great reviews, and it definitely lives up to the hype. So this shade is the color Champagne Flash. It's one of the lightest colors, or it might be the lightest shade that they make. So I'll show you a swatch of what it looks like really quickly. It's just a really, really beautiful glow. It is kind of intense, but again, not in like a glittery, sparkly way. It just, I guess it's intense in that it shows up. Like you can really notice that you have a highlighter on, unlike the Clinique one, which you really only see when the light catches it. I think this is definitely more of that like bolder highlight, but it's not overly glittery, which is what I look for when it comes to highlighters. So before we move on to bronzers, I just want to mention one highlighter palette, and this is the Flower Beauty Shimmer and Strobe Highlighting Palette. This blew my mind when I first got it. I was so super impressed. The colors are fantastic for light to medium skin tones, and I really hope that Flower considers making a deeper version of this because these highlighters are so good, and I wish that people with a deeper skin tone would be able to use and appreciate these because they are so, so pretty. The formula is so smooth. It's silky. You can use them wet to like really amp up the intensity, but just on their own, I think they're so seamless and they would compete with any high-end highlighter that I have in my collection, hands down, easily. So let me show you some swatches really quickly so you can see just how shiny and intense and beautiful these are. I really love the range of colors in here, again, for my skin tone. So I really hope that in the future, Flower Beauty will consider expanding this highlighter range because I think they have something really great with the formula here. Alright, so now that I just shared a million highlighters with you, I only have 3 bronzers to share, and I think that's because I'm way more picky about bronzers than almost anything else because I have such a fair skin tone and I have a cool undertone. So a lot of bronzers are just way, way too orange and too warm for me. So I actually look for bronzers that are more on the neutral to cool side, not super cool like a grayish type of contour, but just something that is not warm at all. If I can get like a more neutral bronzer, that's perfect, or like a neutral to cool. So the 3 that I'm going to show you, funny enough, are actually all almost the same exact color, and I'll swatch them all side by side at the end so you can see what they look like next to each other because they're really almost the same, but they're just at different price points. So the first one I want to talk about is the Marc Jacobs Omega Bronze. This is the Coconut Perfect Tan. It's called Tantastic. It smells like coconut, which is my favorite scent in the world, so I love that about it. And I actually didn't buy this last year. It was originally limited edition, and then I saw so many people talking about it and raving about it. I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna buy it this year, even though it kind of hurt to spend $50 on a bronzer. It's so large, I can actually use this all over my body as well, and I do that sometimes. If I don't want to self-tan, I don't know, I'm so afraid of self-tanning because again, I have dry skin and self-tanners tend to grab in areas like my knees and around my ankles, and it just looks awful. And I find that powders are just much more forgiving. They only last for that one day, but I just get like a huge, big, fluffy brush and just sort of go over my whole body with it. And it just gives a little bit of color so I don't look super pasty pale. And again, it washes off at night, but I really love this color for that, and I love the huge size because I can use it all over. So I think that that makes up for the cost a little bit, the fact that you get so much product in here and I can use it all over, so it's sort of double duty. Oh, and by the way, this is a matte shade, and all of the ones I'm going to show you today are matte. That's just my personal preference. I'm not really into shimmery bronzers at all. And then the second one I want to show you is the Take Home the Bronze from the Balm, and this is the shade Oscar, but now it's Oliver. I think when they originally came out with these, I actually have one of the original ones. It had the Academy Award statue on the front. They since changed that, and they also changed the name. So I don't know if there was some sort of trouble with the Academy Awards in calling this Oscar, but it's now Oliver. So this is, again, just a really beautiful bronzer as well. It's the perfect shade for me in that it's not orange at all. I'm actually wearing this one on my cheeks today as a blush. For some reason with this one, I tend to wear it as a blush more than the other two rather than a bronzer. I use the other two as bronzer more, and I use this one as a blush. I have no idea why, but it's just a really beautiful nude color. It goes with anything basically that you're wearing, so love this one. And then the Butter Bronzer from Physicians Formula is another favorite just because, again, it's very neutral and brown, and I love the scent. This one kind of smells just like the Marc Jacobs one. It's very coconutty and tropical, so I love that about it. I also like how creamy this one feels. The other two are definitely soft and finely milled, but this one almost feels like a cream. So again, it's like I can't even choose between them because they all are so similar. They're similar in color. I love how they all apply. So I would say whatever one is in your budget, go for it because they're all amazing. I recommend all of them. So let me just show you the swatches so you can see what they look like side by side. Again, I think there's not really a whole lot of difference between them. So starting on the left is the Marc Jacobs Tantastic Omega Bronzer. In the middle is the Balm's Oscar or Oliver. And then the third one is the Butter Bronzer from Physicians Formula. So if you have a fair to light skin tone and you're looking for more of a neutral bronzer that doesn't pull too warm, definitely check out one of these depending on what your budget allows for. I think they're all great and really, really beautiful on the skin. Alright, so those are all my favorite bronzers and highlighters of the moment. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Also, let me know in the comments below what you guys are using lately for bronzers and highlighters. I'd love to hear about it. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.